Okay, so this is one of the latest of my Bluetooth speakers I've been working on. And so I just wanted to show it off, give you all a chance to be able to see it. Um, and as you see, it's got several speakers going on there. On the side is displayed right there is the Bluetooth module. Those are the 5 knobs that come off from the Bluetooth module. There's an auxiliary input right there, 3.5. Also, towards the bottom of that is a power input. So you can, of course, charge it up, put the power in. Up at the top, you can see I have an on and off toggle switch. Now that switch is actually connected to the internal battery. So I'm going to pop this thing open, give you an opportunity to see what it looks like on the inside. And so let me do that. Now it's still a work in progress. So there's some stuff here that I'm going to take advantage of. I haven't exactly tied it all in yet. Some of it is tied in, but some of it is not necessarily tied in. Like some others, I like to put my builds together in such a way that you can actually add on stuff. So like if there's some other kind of module that you find and you decide that you want to actually put that in, I usually try to leave a power supply open to be able to allow that extra module to be added in if necessary. Matter of fact, you may notice that I have a power block right there to be able to utilize different aspects. I was thinking I might use it perhaps to just do the speakers themselves, or use it to tie in some other power. But as you can see, I insulated the back of it. Didn't necessarily put any real insulation on the front. Didn't necessarily see a real need for it. It's pretty quiet as far as any internal noise. It doesn't seem like it's getting a lot of bounce off or roll off. It seems to be doing pretty well there. On the side, as you can see right there, you have a USB hookup. So the USB is set up, and matter of fact, let me open that up so you can really get a good look at it. So you have two inputs for the USB, and of course it has a power switch for that. Then of course you have the open 12 volt power source right there. I noticed that a lot of people use them to charge up things, or perhaps, no doubt, you can also expand or push that power outward, I should say. So just giving you a nice little view of this speaker right here. Hopefully this video turns out pretty good. Sometimes the lighting, and I'm using my phone, so sometimes the lighting isn't always the greatest. Sometimes I notice that even though from my viewpoint of the camera on the phone, that from time to time it just doesn't look like the clarity is there when I actually put the video up. So hopefully in this case you can actually get an appreciation of that. Now a number of people use this particular battery. It's normally used as a 12 volt, I want to say either 3 amps. I want to say it's about 3 amps, 12 volts, 3 amp. And what I did was I put two of them together, and just to give me a little longevity as far as the time that I can get out of this thing. And what I did is what I normally do is I take a wire and tie it into the toggle switch. So on the inside, both the negative and the positive are being utilized as far as the toggle switch is concerned. And then I run that toggle switch outward from the box. So you get to see it up there. So I'll run that toggle switch outside of the box. That way you don't actually have to open up the case in order to turn on the battery itself and turn it off. I open the case quite a bit, mainly because I just like to be able to see what's going on as far as some of the stuff that I might want to apply to it or something like that. But basically, you don't really have to open it up at all. Matter of fact, the USB charging port actually has a voltage meter on it, so you can actually see where your voltage is as far as the battery is concerned as well. These speakers, SoundQuib, I believe is what they're called, don't sound bad. I mean, they're relatively inexpensive speakers, but they don't really sound bad. I feel like maybe perhaps they could boast a little more bass, but the bass is not bad. What I found though is that when you put the tweeters and the mid-range, when you put them all kind of close together in close proximity, sometimes some of the sound gets slightly canceled out. So I feel like at one point I didn't have the tweeters in there. It sounded like the bass kind of projected a little bit better. But after I put the tweeters in, matter of fact, the mid-ranges themselves, the bigger ones, the SoundQuib, those are actually full range speakers is what it is. And the top ones right here, the PRVs, are actually mid-range speakers. So these are not utilizing an internal tweeter. So they're not using a tweeter at all, not the PRVs. But the SoundQuib, those are actually using a internal tweeter. So they have a tweeter as well. So they're full range speakers is basically what they are. So you have your basically what amounts to a mid and a tweeter put together. So it gives you that full range sound. And what I found is that, once again, before I added these tweeters up here at the top, the projection of the bass was a little bit, it seemed a little bit better. It's not that it actually stops the bass, but once again, like I said before, between having two sets of tweeters, it cancels out some of the protrusion of the bass, or the reflection of the bass. So the bass doesn't actually come out as heavy as if when I didn't have those tweeters there. But it still doesn't sound bad. I like the configuration. I feel like the box itself is ergonomically pretty set up. So you're able to get to everything that you need to get to. I like the overall, I like the dynamics of the sound that's being put out. I'm pretty happy with the crossovers that I've been using. These are, of course, crossovers that I get off of Amazon. And these crossovers have been pretty good to me, so I've been using them for a few of my builds, even prior to this one. So I'm pretty happy with those crossovers. They work out pretty well. I'm thinking about adding, or at least getting one of the other amps tied in so that I can produce a little more power. But we'll see how that works out. And no doubt I'll have that together pretty soon. Right now I'm not doing any sound bits on this one, not right now, but later on I'll post a video where I'm actually putting a sound bit on there. But I will say this in connection to builds that others may have put together. Um, it's beautiful to actually make your own speaker, I'm going to say, because you can play around with it. You can kind of get it to uh, display the type of sound or produce the type of sounds that you are looking for in a speaker. You also have the ability to be able to say that, hey, I actually built this speaker, and just for something that it gives me some pleasure, so something that I can appreciate. And so it's fun to do it. Takes a little bit of time, I will be honest, but it's a joy to do it. It's fun to do it, and the likelihood of you finding somebody else who actually built their own speaker is, you're not going to find a whole lot of people who are building their own speakers like this, their own Bluetooth speakers. But when you do, or at least when I look on YouTube myself and see some, I'll basically make sure that I'll take advantage of anything that I think that they did that I could utilize in one of my builds. I'm still learning, like a lot of us, but I'm getting there. One of my biggest challenges, I think, and probably the challenge of some others, is the idea of building your own battery. Now, a battery build is probably the best way to go. I'm using 12 volts right now, but for this amp, it would probably be good if I were pushing more like at least 15 to 20 volts. If I was pushing about 15 to 20 volts, I could get more power out of it. But even with the 12 volts, it projects pretty well. So it's getting some pretty nice sound out of it, even at just 12 volts. Once again, this is my speaker build. I'll post another video. If you like what you see, put your thumb up. If you don't really much care for it, then you can, of course, naturally put your thumb down. But this is just one that I have been working on, and I hope everybody enjoyed it.